I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do.
Hello, racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Sunday, June the 24th races at Hastings. We do have 7 more live races that will begin at 1:50 in the afternoon. Our feature is in, I believe, race number 4. It is for 2-year-olds. Colts and Geldings going 6 panels. It's going to be a lot of fun watching the youngsters. Actually, 3 2-year-old races this weekend, which is nice to see the 2-year-olds carrying the card and they're getting in action.
Bodes well.
The hard work that people put in, training them and setting them up for races is finally coming to fruition as they get to race. But on the Sunday card, let's start off with the first half of the double. Field of 5 to kick things off. No worries, a 3 lifetime. Going 6.5 furlongs, and I landed on the 3 Brother Brian. They all come out of the Catch Me. Most of the field comes out of the Catch Me race, and I thought he probably had the worst trip of. Run Harvey Run didn't get a good trip, but Brother Brian, I thought ran a reasonable race against all what was happening. So I went 3 over the 1 Run Harvey Run and the 5 Mike Grayson. So I'm gonna go 3, 1, and 5 to kick things off.
I went to Mike Grayson. I like he's a horse in form. He ran really good his first start. Just got beat by Heath Gatsby his first start. Got a 40 buyer. Came back, crushed for 8. Got a 48 buyer. Last time, good second behind Catch Me, who's pretty tough at this level, especially sprinting. Catch Me in a non-3-8 is tough. Yeah. Good second behind him, battling the whole way, only got beat a length. By Catch Me, got a 57. His buyers are improving, his races are getting better. This was the same race last time, as I mentioned, with a tough horse in there like Catch Me. So I'm going with Mike Grayson on top, Perfectly Reckless. This horse has run 2.
That one out.
Yeah, he's run 2 good races this year. Ran into a hot Presidential Bird last time. Footman's was tough in there. This isn't an overly tough 8 non-3. Not as tough I thought as the last one, or even that Presidential Bird one. So I got Perfectly Reckless in second, and I threw in Brother Brian, your top horse, for third. Another one that's progressing nicely.
The horse will break better and show more speed.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
kind of the horse walked out of there last time.
It didn't break well and was given a lot to do and just missed second, but I thought ran a better race.
He's another one. You look at his last 3 races, 45 buyer, 47, 57. Yeah. Just, I'm not always sold on buyers, but when you see a good pattern progressing, that's a good sign. I went 5, 4, and 3 in the first. On to the second, maiden 16 for 3 and up, going 6.5 furlongs. This is a bit of a head scratcher here.
Skullbuster. There's not much in it.
Yeah, I know. It's just, there's horses
as far as separation.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody stands out like, this is the horse that, I went to Cedar Chines out of the Greg Tracy barn. This horse, he's a half-brother to Herbie D. Looked good early on this meet. Even his first start running 5th, only beat 4 lengths. Sorry, that was last year's 2-year-old year. First start this year, went second behind Ezekiel. Only beat a length behind Ezekiel. Beat Fort Mac. Fort Mac came back to win in maiden special weight. He ran 5th that day, only beaten 4 lengths. Last time, went to the head end. They went 22 and 1 head. Just kind of all the pressure just folded, fell apart. I don't see much other speed in here. I mean, we don't know. Golden Orchid maybe, Red Buffalo a little bit, but I think Cedar Chines gets the lead on David Lopez. Could go a long way. This is a big class relief for a horse that's been strictly maiden special weights. Now in for 16, that's a pretty nice drop. And, Greg Tracy, horses going from maiden special weights to maiden claiming 40%. Cedar Chines for me on top. I don't mind Red Buffalo in here. You go back to that race. Another one that was in that maiden 50 last time, which was basically a maiden special weight, with Harry's Hammer, Ace of Dimes, Stone Carver. Didn't run his best race, but you go back to the race before that, only beat 2 lengths by Titus Command. Titus Command is a decent little horse, as is KK Gold. His races for 25 were decent. Now he's in for 16. He's a 10-time maiden. I'm not totally hanging my hat on him, but Lacey does a good job with him. I think this horse could be in the try today. Red Buffalo in second, and I threw in Bionic. I got all the Mike Anderson helpers in here. Lacey, Amanda Culkin.
You are loyal.
Races 2 race back, second behind Master Ewan. She put him up at a maiden special weight, back in for 16. I think he's tough. Master Ewan's a decent horse. He ran second, too. He was ahead of Mr. Finch. Mr. Finch came back to win the other day. Granted, it was for cheaper. But I don't mind Bionic. And Amadeo Perez had other options in here, and he lands on Bionic. I'm going 3, 4, 6.
Yeah. I ended up on the 5 here, R.W. Stanley. This horse blew the break in his debut, which most debutantes do miss the break. Really rushed up wide early, and I thought he still gave a really good account of himself. He's come back to work. He actually was in and was scratched because he did flip in the paddock. That's his issue. He was in, I think 3 weeks ago. But look at the race he's coming up. Next, Otis won and came back to win. Lucky Ending is now a winner. He didn't win his next start, but Titus Command didn't win his next start, but he did win. So all the horses in front of him have won races. It was a live heat. This was a live heat that R.W. Stanley's coming out of, and I thought if Cedar Shines doesn't win, I agree, Cedar Shines is the horse to beat. But if Cedar Shines does not find the line first on the class drop, shows speed and doesn't make it all the way, then I think R.W. Stanley will be the one that beats him. And I threw the one horse, Include Quinn, for Mark Kluche,
I wanted to throw that
out of the mare of Monashee, who hasn't been a great broodmare, but this one we'll see. But Include Quinn, I thought was worth a look as well. Wasn't a bad debut. I went 5, 3, and 1. I like R.W. Stanley in race number 2. On to the third. We got some 12-5 claimers here going a mile and a 16th. Got to feel the 6 signed on. I ended up on the 1 Royal Briar. I don't love anyone in here. Royal Briar is
pretty even,
tactically challenged. He is not a speed horse. He needs pace help. He is actually breaking a little bit better, though, and actually getting into play, so he doesn't need to make up so much ground. But I thought he was the horse to beat. The 6 City Steel ran well in his Hastings debut for Dave Milburn, and those two I thought were the top 2, and then I put Willing to Travel, who was claimed by Steve Bryant out of his last start, and I thought this one was pretty impressive. Did get set up, but still ran well at the 8,000 level, and might be worth a look for 12-5. I left out Burnham. Still has to prove himself going long, but he's a cool horse. Heart Set, I picked him last time, and he just really disappointed me, so I'm gonna have to watch one with him. And the mare, and you got the mare, Don't Tell My Husband in here, looking for a long race, but unfortunately found a pretty tough spot in here. I went 1, 6, and 3 though. I like Royal Briar.
I don't have a whole lot to add, but I went the other way. I went City Steel on top of Royal Briar. This horse has a pretty good form on him. He's a 13-time winner. He's an 8-year-old by City Zip. He's made over 300 grand. 10 of his wins, 6 of them have come at today's distance.
Yeah.
And you look, they're not always running a mile 16th, and there's a lot of mile races. So, of the 13 wins, I'm guessing more of them are longer. But City Steel definitely live in here. Over Royal Briar, I agree. This horse has been, not only live, but bet right down his last 3 races, too. He was a favorite twice, and last time he was about 3-1 in against that tough Ida Goodis. Comes out of the same race as City Steel. Those two look to be the tough ones, I think, in here. Willing to Travel could jump up and run very well, too. Steve Bryant's only run 1 horse this year. It was a winner. Aaron Greider was aboard that day, yes. So they're teaming up again. And that 8 was pretty live with Citron Kid and Ace Deuce. This isn't a giant step up, I don't think, to 12-5. Right. So he fits in here as well. And I left out my boyfriend Burnham. I didn't pick Burnham today. But again, it's going long, and he's only got 1 long race. The sample size is small, but he definitely has a class to compete in here. I went 6, 1, 3 in the third. On to the fourth. 2-year-olds going 6 furlongs. Field of 9. I went to, we were talking about Dino's 2-year-olds for the Saturday card. I went to the Dino horse here, Bugsy. I thought a decent race behind Summerland. He only got beat. Yeah. He got beat 9 1/4. Summerland won by 9 1/2, set the track record. He's a shrug out of that good mare Haunting You. I think he's going to appreciate 2 turns. Amadeo Perez sticks with him. Just got beat a nose. Vintage Man came back and won impressively. So, he ran behind 2 pretty live horses there. Now he gets to go around 2 turns, and I'm thinking Bugsy's going to be tough. I put the other Glenn Todd horse, Move On. He just ran 3rd behind his stablemate Vintage Man last time. But another one with a very nice progression. Didn't run a jump in his first start. Really showed quite a bit more in his second start. And I think he's live in here. And I threw in Numani's Reward out of the Jim Brown barn. He was bet right down in that Summerland race. A lot of people were talking about him, but he's a Numani. I mean, he isn't going to be the kind of horse that wants to run 3 1/2. I am more excited to see him go around 2 turns. This is going to be much more to his liking. I went 7, 2, and 8.
Yeah, I agree with the last horse you mentioned, Numani's Reward. If you saw him in the paddock, you probably could guess 3 1/2 wasn't going to be his gig.
His thing,
He's a big, huge horse. He's a good-sized horse, and I was impressed with how well he did, running where he ended up finishing. He'd been prepped to go farther, but Jim just put him in a race to get some experience.
He got a race
Got
into
a
him
couple
now.
of 5/8 since, and has looked good in both of those works. And I love the outside draw. He gets to kind of gallop up on the outside because he wasn't quick away from the gate at all. And I just think he's going to be a far better horse at the 6 furlong trip. I like Numani's Reward. I agree with Move On for Glenn Todd and North American Thoroughbred Horse Racing Company. A much better effort behind Stablemate Vintage Man last time, and I thought that was a good one. And I put the 3, Ring of Kerry. I left out Bugsy, which is probably a mistake, but I put Ring of Kerry in for Phil Hall. This horse by Flatter. It cost 27 grand at the Keeneland sale, and some decent works for Phil, who can get 2-year-olds ready to run. As we watch Summerland gallop around there in track record time, and he does. Him and his crew do a great job getting 2-year-olds ready to race. But I like Numani's Reward. I went 8, 2, and 3 to kick off the late pick 4 on race number 5. We do have some $4,000 claimers here going 6 1/2 furlongs, and I've gone to the outside to number 9, Kelson. I'm going to try him to win it. Didn't see a ton of speed in here, so I thought Kelson could probably clear from his outside gate. Swiss Arrogant's going to be out there. That's about it, though. I think Kelson gets to sit a nice 2-wide trip, and he's going to be pretty dangerous from there. Do I trust him 100%? No. But last time he was in for 4, he looked pretty smart. Yeah. And I'll try Kelson to defeat the 5, Bluegrass Pride, for Tara Nigel. This horse has never been the greatest sprinter, definitely been better going along, but for $4,000, this horse has got to be a little bit of a threat. And I put the 8, Topper's Ghost, who's been in good form for Christine Amon, and I thought this horse was live as well. I thought those were your 3 horses, 9, 5, and 8. I've left out Laguna Blaze, who could be interesting off the layoff, and the class dropped last fall, but work's been good for Laguna Blaze. But I thought 9, 5, and 8 were the 3.
I don't have much to add, but I got them in different order. I went with Topper's Ghost. I can see. I think he's run 2 really good races last, 2 seconds right at this level last time. Ran into Presidential Bird, who's a horse that I like.
Running well.
Running this weekend. He's a horse, going the right direction. He ran into him, only got beat a length by him. And Christine does a really good job with their horses. She's definitely due for some luck. Topper's Ghost for me on top of Kelson. Your top pick, he'll be the favorite in here, I would imagine, of the Glenn Todd barn, Aaron Grider. Everything they're leading over there right now is pretty tough. And last time he won convincingly in an 8 non-3. And instead of going to the 4 non-winners of the year, they went to 62.50. Didn't turn out great. Now they get a little more aggressive in for 4. He's got to be a handful in here. And I agree, Bluegrass Pride's another one to look at in here. Running much higher and running good throughout last year for 8 and for 16.
Best horse in the race. But
he's the best horse, but he hasn't run yet this year, and he does want to go longer, but definitely has the class to compete in here. 8, 9, 5 for me in the 5th. On to the 6th. Maiden 16 for fillies and mares, field of 9. Whew, I did
this is a tough race.
There's one I really like Jaina in here. I think Barb's horses in the last 2 races are very tough. Coming out of a maiden special weight that was a live one. Sharp Contrast, Dory's Darlin, Lady LaRue. That was a tough heat. She did run 4th. Sharp Contrast and Dory's Darlin kind of drew away. She only got beat in the neck for 3rd. Class Relief in for 16. 4-year-old against mostly 3-year-olds. Bombay is the other 4-year-old in here, and I've left her off, which might be a mistake, but I really like Jaina. I got her on top. A Fireball Flirt. I don't mind Fireball Flirt. This is out of the Rob Maben barn. I think this girl can run a little bit. She absolutely walked out of the gate. It was an $8,000 event last time. Now this is 16, but she absolutely walked out of the gate. It said she was 5th by 7. I think she was 5th by 17. She was like way back there. Started to pick up horses, made a good run. Looked like she was going to make a big enough move to get there, but her first start, getting left that much, being that far out of it, a lot to overcome. I still thought a good move. Moves to a little bit more experienced rider in Sahin Savachi. Fireball Flirt for me in 2nd, and who did I put in for 3rd? Essie Rose. Mike Anderson, David Lopez, Todd Mountain Thoroughbreds, spent her life in tough race and maiden special weights, gets a class relief here. This is a sister to Sia O'Clair. There should be more there. And now in for 16, we'll see. I went 6, 7, and 5.
Yeah, I agree with the 16. I think she's found a good spot back in for 16, and didn't fall in love with anyone else. I mean, I put the 8 horse Seagrove Bay in the mix, though. This horse was.
I saw that. Yeah, I looked at her.
Okay in her last start of the year. She only ran once last fall, but
only got beat 3.
the work tab's been good, and I just thought this horse was worth a look on the class drop, and Rob Gilker always does well. And I put the 9 Bombay in for third. Had a lot of chances, as has Jaina. I mean, I know we're taking 4-year-olds that have a lot of chances, but sometimes those are the ones that do get the money. I went 6, 8, and 9 in race number 6. On to the 7th and final, $4,000 claimer for non-winners of 2 lifetime, going a mile and 16th. And the 3-horse Tell Us a Tale did get second in her last start in a 5-horse field, and I think she wants to run long, but we'll see if that's the case. But she seems to be a little, not facing a tough crew at all. This race didn't come up super tough, which you would expect for a non-2-4, but I thought she's live in here. I put the 1-horse Swagger Cat, who had an absolutely awful trip last time. 5 wider on the first turn. Just nothing went right that day. Gets down on the inside. I think this filly will be more of a factor. And I put the 4-horse Forever Crystal, who wants to route. And her best races last year were going along. And I know she's got a lot of form on her. She's won for a lot. Only won one. And, had a lot of chances. But I thought this one was also could be in the try or whatever. But I thought Tell Us a Tale was looked pretty good in here, and Swagger Cat has the form that is muddied up a little, and this horse ran way better than it looks like in her last 2 races. So I went 3, 1, 4.
I went with obviously 3 on top. Tell Us a Tale for me is best bet of the day. Good second last time behind Coco Go and an 8 on 3. You go back to her races running long last year in the HPBA claiming championship. Only beat a length and a quarter behind Don't Tell My Husband and Tinderette. What was the last time before that? Back in 2 years ago, as a 3-year-old, second behind Don't Tell My Husband and a maiden 8. Both times she's run long, she's run good.
Yep. She never gets to run long. That's the problem. You never get to run long.
This is the third time she gets to run long, but I mean, in a 4 non-2, best bet of the day for me, Tell Us a Tale. I put Forever Crystal in the second spot. I know you were just mentioning she's an 8-time starter, 1-time winner. But you look at last year, she never won a race, but 8 starts, 7 of them in the money.
18-time starter.
18, what did I say, 8?
Yeah.
Sorry,
but
18.
I know, I had to put my glasses
18-time
on.
starter, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was.
And had to give you a reason to put the glasses on. You go back last year, her first start, she gets beat 6, going 6.5. Like this time she got beat 9. Then she comes back, first start, going long, got a start into her, then going long, she only gets beat 3/4 of a length. I think she's in the money today. And I threw in Convergent, the Mike Anderson horse, David Lopez. Broke her maiden first out for $16,000. Looked good doing it. Looked pretty professional coming from off the pace. Her 2 subsequent races have not been very good, but now into a straight 4 non-2, I think there should be enough there that she could hit the board. 3, 4, and 7 for me. In the nightcap, that'll do it for our analysis of the Sunday card. Up next on screen will be our picks. Mike, as always, you're going to be up first.
There we go. Back in race number 1, I did go to the 3-horse Brother Brian. I'm going to go 3, 1, and 5. Race number 2, I went to the 5RW Stanley. I'm going to go 5, 3, and 1. Race number 3, I went to the 1 Royal Briar, 1, 6, and 3. Race number 4, the first 2-year-old Colton Gelding race, going 6 furlongs. I went to the 8 Newmanny's Reward. Over the 2, move on, and the 3 Ring of Kerry. Race number 5, went to the 9 Kelsing. I'm going to go 9, 5, and 8. Race number 6, I went to the 6 Jaina over the 8 and 9. And race number 7, I went to the 3 Tell Us a Tale. I'm going to go 3, 1, and 4.
On my picks, there we go. Back in the first, I went to the 5 My Grayson over the 4 and the 3. In the second, interesting maiden race here, I went to the 3 Cedar Shines over the 4 and the 6. In the third, good older boy, 12-5 race, I went to the 6 City Steel. I really like him over the 1 and the 3. In the fourth, went to the 7 Bugsy, the Dino Conolinos barn, the 2-year-olds over the 2 and the 8. In the fifth, I went to the 8 Topper's Ghost over the 9 and the 5. And I went for the, like you, the Barb Heads late double. Number 6, Jaina in the 6 over the 7 and the 5.
I picked them all this
and
week.
In the nightcap, yes.
I'm going to jinx her.
And in the nightcap,
It'll be a
love.
cold Sunday.
Best bet of the day for me is number 3, Tell Us a Tale in the nightcap over the 4 and the 7.
That'll do it for the Sunday, June the 24th edition of Handicapper's Corner. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully I've given you a little insight, hopefully help you in your investments on the Sunday afternoon program, which will start at 1:50. Our next live cards will be next Sunday and Monday.
Right.
We do race July the 1st on Sunday and July the 2nd on the holiday Monday. No live racing on the Saturday, June the 30th. But yeah.
Good math.
I know. 31, 30, I had to go through it quickly. But yeah. Next weekend, just a little tweak to our schedule. We're racing Sunday
and the holiday Monday.
Both days at 1:50. On behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on Actually, see you next on Canada Day edition of Handicapper's Corner.
I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do